Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
Hi everybody, welcome back to the Combat Sports UK MMA YouTube channel. I'm Taylor Collard. I'm delighted to be joined by the Pride of the North, Mick Parkin. How are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm all good.
Happy days, happy days. Listen, how's training camp going? We're just 2 weeks out now, so this will kind of be your last big week, I suppose. How's everything going with you?
Yeah, everything's been great. I've been getting some really good training in. Yeah, it's the last probably like live week really. Next week I'll just chill, obviously. So it's the last couple of days of maybe hard training or semi-hard training now. Everything's all done now. All the sparring's done. It's just like maybe it's finely tuned things, some pads, some like more drill stuff now, I think.
Yeah, sound. And how are you kind of, I mean, we talked a little bit off camera there, but how are you kind of preparing for that late start time? Obviously, you mentioned you're kind of in the middle of the prelims day. You don't have it too bad, but then you don't have it so good as well. So how are you dealing with that late start time? Are you doing anything to prepare for that?
Yeah, about 2 weeks, 10 days out. I'll stop up to about 1 a.m. I think, train a little bit later. And then, like I said, 1 a.m. isn't too bad. I fought at 12 before, it's not too bad. Pushing 2, 3 o'clock, that's starting to get like a little bit late, and maybe it's like sleeping time. So I'll start out 10 days out, start up to 1 a.m., train a little bit later, and then I think I'll be fine. But on fight day, worst coming to worst, I think you could do no preparation. And I think the adrenaline and the nerves of your fight will get you through. I don't think you're going to be feeling tired at that time. Maybe through the day you might feel a bit crap if you get up. Say if you wake up at 8 a.m., it's a long time to stay awake till 2 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, whatever. But yeah, I think I'll be fine. Just 1 o'clock in the morning, start up till then. Probably take a couple of days to get used to it. Then I'll be, like I said, I think I'll be fine. 1 o'clock, I'll get up. I'll try and sleep in as late as possible. Even just nap during the day, that like probably rare. Maybe to have like a long snooze during the afternoon. And then, like I said, the UFC aren't too bad for getting you that too early. Maybe it's 2 hours free at the max, so it's not too bad. Like I might be like at the venue by 11 p.m, which is fine.
Yeah, that's not too bad. And you got that experience of fighting at home as well. Anyway, when you fought on the London cards last year, as opposed to going to Vegas. Before we build up to that fight at UFC 304, I want to jump back to the Usman fight earlier this year. I mean, what are your reflections kind of now? What has it been, 3-4 months since that fight?
Yeah, I thought the fight went like exactly as I thought it would. The only surprise was he didn't wrestle or didn't try to wrestle at all. I don't know why he didn't. I thought he would try. Maybe when I watched his earlier fights, he lost a few in the first rounds. Then he pressed the wrestling definitely at the end of the second and third, and maybe he's pinched the rounds and like pinned the guys out. So I thought that was going to come, but I remember it being like 2 minutes, I think, at the end of the third round, and I remember thinking, oh, he's probably going to shoot now, like get ready for it, and he didn't. I don't know if he was tired or if I was doing something to put him off it. Maybe his leg was a bit sore off his kicking it. So I don't know. That was the only difference. As I said, prepared for him. I knew he was like not technically great, but definitely explosive and dangerous. I knew he was just. I wouldn't say he was super fast to fight, but he went from nothing to really quick. So he would like jump in from like a longer range, maybe fall in a bit. But he's dangerous because he swings them big winning hooks. Obviously, I got caught with one and it got a little cut open with my eyebrow. But after I got caught with one, well, the first big one didn't cut as it was, I think, on the end. I got caught with one big right hand at the very beginning. And once I got hit with that, it was like a little bit of a stun. And then I was like, oh, I should never, watching it back, I should never have got hit by that. It was like a big, like, stupid shot. But then once I actually get hit with, but looking back, I could have been quite easily. He knocked us out with that big punch and he celebrating like a great knockout win. So it's good for us to recover from that. And then, like I said, after that, watching it back after that big flurry at the beginning, I don't think he did anything really. My technique maybe took over a little bit, me being a little bit more technically sound than him on the feet. But yeah, it went perfect. Like I said, the only thing was I thought he was definitely going to wrestle a little bit more, which he didn't, which is a surprise.
Yeah, and you mentioned that quite heavily in your interview with us before that fight as well. And you mentioned as well, I think you were very canny not to give away the game plan. You kind of said, yeah, he does some things well, I do some things well. I think what was quite evident for me watching it back was the jab, head movement, and the leg kicks. Were those kind of the things that you had targeted pre-fight that were going to kind of win you the fight?
Yeah, so I knew he had a decent jab. The rest was all like big hooks, but he did have like a nice jab. But he was heavily boxy, and the way his positioning was, and everybody's like this, anybody who's a really big jabber and a boxer, they usually do give away a bit of a low kick. So I felt like the low kick would take away his jab, and then like moving your feet would, and the big shots would be like more being out of range or being tight with your hands. So yeah, it went perfect. Like I said, the only thing wasn't we'd done a lot of defense against the cage. He had like a nice, when I watched him, he had a nice outside head single where he would like sort of like just power the guys up and like flip them over. So I did a little bit of that defense. Then if I was there on the floor, I did a lot about getting back to my feet and stuff like that. But yeah, it didn't need it, which is also better. Like I had in my head, like, oh, it's going to be a really hard fight. It's going to be like taking you down. It's going to be really grueling. And then when it's not, it's a little bit better.
No, absolutely. I mean, I really agree with you what you said there about the more technical sound fighter coming out on top in the end, because I think that's very much how the fight went. Is that one thing that really interests me about your career is you've really paved out a pathway, right? You've gone from the amateur, you fought in Rise and Conquer as well, then Contender Series, and now the UFC. How have you kind of learned across that that pathway, like I said, and what's kind of the differences as you've gone through each step?
Yeah, so well, actually, I think me fight amateur, I got a little bit more fights at amateur. It wasn't really that hard for us to get. It was definitely hard, but I got a lot of fights amateur. That turned pro was a lot harder to get fights, because then it sort of matters more, and there's not many heavy guys. So I had to sort of basically like get what that was given. So a lot of them were like journeymen and stuff like that. Maybe he's not the best of records, or some guys were just like big tough guys. So I know everyone heavyweight in the probably in the world has this problem. So it's pretty difficult for us to get some fights at professional. But yeah, I went from amateur, just like sort of fighting, beating people quite early. Then professional at the beginning again, I was just beating people quite early in the first rounds and stuff like that. Then I started to fight more. I think I fought like a rising punk. I fought Ashley Pollard, who was like 7-7. I think he'd had like a few good wins and good fights. He'd fought in Bama. He was the first probably experienced guy I fought, and that was like a really good fight because I think I took him down. He reverses a few times, which had never happened, which was a bit like, oh, I've never been here. Then I got on top of him, and I used to just stop people on top. I'd throw a few punches, and they would just quit. And he didn't. He would move from the bottom and stay safe. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I'm so gassy here. Like, how the hell have I gassed this? It was a lot different. Then I remember after speaking to Fisher, my coach, and he was like, you're not gassy. It's just like anybody in the world, if they get on top of somebody and they try and finish them and they don't, you're exhausted. Like, you just need to learn how to pick your shots better. I was making a few mistakes on the floor with controlling him. I think I was giving him an underhook, and he'd always scramble up an underhook, and I'd have to like start the game. So I had a few like things, just experience. I'd never experienced somebody like not just giving up, if that makes sense, or like curling up or staying safe. He would like do enough to keep the fight going and not get stopped. And I remember after I had to like go away and like deal with some stuff of like controlling better from top, not just going crazy and killing everybody. And I think the second fight, it worked. I got a bit more grappling in, I picked my shots, and I just finished the guy on the floor much easier. And then I remember just thinking, oh, it's like everybody gets tired. You just need to be more efficient. If that makes sense. Like you gotta know when to like go crazy, when not, when to come off, and when to like maybe to bang and stuff. Where I'd maybe never had them hard fights, so I'd done that, and it was probably them two fights were probably perfect. Then to get the Contender Series, where I fought a guy who was not just there to take part in the fight, he was there to knock us out. It was a good experience, and then obviously I knew he was like just crazy. He went like 100 miles an hour. And obviously, maybe that fight, picking the shots and like coming from a bad adversity definitely helped us. Then I got that fight out the way, and then obviously signed the UFC. And then yeah, it was like once you're there, a lot of pressure off you after the Contender Series, because obviously it's like you've got to fight good, you've got to win to be in the UFC. Even then, you're not guaranteed a fight, a contract. Sorry. And then obviously I got in the UFC, and yeah, it's been great so far. I feel like I'm just getting a little bit better every time. I've still got loads of stuff to work on. I still make loads of mistakes in the gym, even in fights. But I think I've 9 when I was a pro. I think this is my 10th professional fight. So it's not many either. Like some of these little guys, they're like have unlucky as a way they've got to have like maybe 10, 15, 20 fights to get anywhere near the UFC. The big guys, you get like I think I'd had 5 or 6 fights and I was there. So you get like put in the deep end a lot quicker. But yeah, it's been great. I've done loads of learning, and luckily I'm still winning and learning stuff, which is good. And I just keep getting better, and that's all I do after every fight. I look away and think, oh, what could I have done better? Probably could have pressed the finish there. Maybe could have shot a takedown there, and then I'll just keep trying to do that.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you mentioned the record as well there. When you are going into something with an undefeated record, like you have 9-0, and this going into your 10th bout, is there that, I don't want to say monkey on your shoulder, but almost a voice in the back of your head saying, oh, you're undefeated? Or how do you manage the mindset side of things, or do you just not think about it?
Uh, I don't even think about it. I don't think about being undefeated and stuff like that. It's obviously nice and people mention it, but every fight I've had some guys with like negative records, and that's all the fights that will get, especially earlier on in my professional career. But every fight I went into, I never just went in thinking, "Oh, you're gonna walk through this guy." I always thought it's a hard fight. Train your hardest for it. And the big guys, like, I feel like this is the only division in the world where you could get like, I'll get a big guy off the street, and there's a chance that could beat us still. That could windmill and knock you out. It's like no other weight division could you get some guy like that just to walk in there and win. I think it would be like there'd be no chance. Where like I'll get some tough rugby guy or something to fight us, and he could land a shot on us and knock us out. That's what's crazy. So I've always thought like big guys, like they've always got a chance. So I've always went to fight thinking, oh, this could be the one you get beat. You've got to train so hard for this. So I've never really thought about like being undefeated and like stuff like that. I just fight to fight. At the end of the day, then we're going to try to win. I'm going to try to win. That's all I say. That's just like it's your opponent. He's got like some skill sets, and all I do is train as hard as I possibly can for this fight, and hopefully my skill set's a lot better than his.
Yeah, and talking about that, we're building up to UFC 304 on the 27th of July. Your matchup is against Lukasz Brzeski, somebody who probably had his back against the wall. He was going 3 losses before he managed to get back to the win column. What do you know kind of about his game? Have you been able to watch much tape on him? Where do you stand on him as an opponent right
now? Yeah, so I think the very first fight in the UFC, I got offered Lucas, but I think he was coming off an injury or he was injured, but never come through. So I watched a little bit of his fights then, and then obviously I got rematched up with him there. Yeah, I think his record in the UFC is probably doesn't show his true self. I think he's good. I think he's good. I know he lost 3, then he's won his last one. Good win. I think the best thing about him is again he's not. I wouldn't say he's as good as technically me. I think I'm better than him all over, but he's tough. All these Polish fellas are hard. All these big Polish fellas are tough. He doesn't give up even when the fights why it hasn't been going his way. He hasn't quit. He's still like tried. He's come out in the round. He's tried to finish his opponents. So I'm under no illusion that he's going to be a walk in the park. A lot of people probably think that, but I feel like I'll get in there and keep coming forward. And these fights can be like grueling, horrible fights. Somebody's in there. I don't think he's as good as me, but he'll not quit. And he's not thinking, oh, Mick's loads better than me. I know for a fact he's going to try come in there and knock me out. I do think my skill set's a lot better than him, but like it's heavyweight. He's a big guy. I've got to respect him. And like I said, he's definitely one of them that'll not give up.
now? Yeah, and what would you say kind of is his biggest strength, but also something, maybe you're obviously not going to drop your game plan again, but something you could maybe take advantage of with it within the fight? What are you looking towards?
Well, I've seen he looks more of a kickboxer. I think he keeps it standing a lot more. I've just drilled stuff that I think he likes. Every fight's different. I've drilled in there. Like I said, I drilled for Usman at wrestlers, and he didn't. You go in there, Lucas could try and take us down. You don't know. So like I've always thought of being like prepared for everything. But yeah, I think he looks merely like it's more of a stand-up fighter. I'd say he obviously can grapple. He's a big guy and he's aggressive. That's the main thing. So he's aggressive. So I think it'll make for a better fight potentially for me. I feel like sometimes I can stand off people and I feel a bit more technical than them, so I can maybe stop them coming forward as much. Where I feel like he'll keep coming forward. So I think like that works better for my style, really.
And is there a part of you that, considering that wrestling training you did leading up into the Usman fight, is there a part of you that kind of thinks, yeah, go on, have a shot on me. I really want to show off what I can do, or you just let's keep it standing, let's stand and bang and let's go.
Well, all the training for it, even if it didn't happen, like my coach was like, it's still like rounds in the bank for later. You're going to fight a wrestler at some point in your career who's going to treat us there. And luckily, my main training partners like filled the freeze back home. And like, I don't think anyone's as good as a heavyweight grappler as him. So, like every fight I go into, I think they're not going to be as strong as Phil. They're definitely not as big as Phil. And like, I don't think they're as good as Phil. So I feel like defensively, grappling, wrestling, I've got that sort of ticked off. Training with Phil. So like, I thought there's no way on earth you're gonna take me down and pin us. Like, there's no way. So I felt like that's just rounds in the bank. And then obviously I just keep trying to add stuff to my game every time. Maybe he's if it's like an extra shot or something I'm working on. Maybe he's pressing the finish more, grappling myself. So the things I need to work on. Like I said, I could go in this fight and I could think, oh, he's going to take us down. He doesn't take us down, but like all the training still helped in a way for like future fights and stuff like that. So I've just trained as best I can for this. I've had a good camp, like I said. Back home, I've got Big Phil, obviously the KSW champion, and Paulie trains with us now, who fights at ONE FC. He's a heavyweight, but he's really athletic and fast, so he's good to have. They're like the two main heavyweights I train with back home. And obviously when I travel to Wigan, where I'm at now, obviously Tom Aspinall and all the guys here, there's been like loads, like PFL champions, ONE FC champions, Bellator fighters have come. There's so many, even just big guys, UFC fighters. There's like just giants all over the match. Like you struggle to find anyone in the world. I think it was such a big group of guys, and all of them pretty good as well. It's not like you grab anywhere. You come in and you think, oh, feel a bit tighter. They'll have an easy round with him. They're all huge. Even the guys who maybe he's not as experienced as you, they're just big and strong. So everywhere you look, you're getting hard rounds. So in fight camp, me and Phil and Paul come down here quite a lot. I say I come down at least 2 days a week. Last week I was down here for a week. I just train with Tom, get the rounds in with Tom, and just do what he does. Go do my weights with him on the night. Do the extra finishes with him, preparing for his fight. So works great, especially when we're all in camp together. Modestus was down here, he was fighting in the UFC as well, on the same show. So it's just great, we're all fighting together, we're spurring each other on, we're all in camp together, so it works out mint that we've all got rounds together, so it's like perfect to come down here, really.
Yeah, and that Tom Aspinall fella, he's not too bad on the ground either, is he, really? And so, I mean, look, reading between the lines, it seems to me like the secret to British heavyweight MMA is Wigan pies, obviously, right? That's got to be what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, North, been up north, maybe.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's the Northern spirit. Just lastly, I want to kind of get your thoughts on the card as a whole. It's a massive card. I mean, I would probably say, looking at it, probably the biggest card in British history. I mean, 2 title fights on there, yourself, a full host of British stars. What are you looking forward to? Obviously, there's Tom's fight on the card. How do you see that going, and how do you see the rest of the card? What else are you looking forward to?
Yeah, I think it's amazing. I fought in UFC London. I've never actually fought in a stadium show since. I've obviously always been at the Apex, which the UFC have a lot of shows there, which you obviously understand why. So I don't mind fighting the Apex. I'm used to it now, and I know exactly what to expect. But I was swimming special fighting in London. My debut there with the crowd, and like I was really talking to Tom, like talking to Tom about this today, and just like when you're backstage and you can hear the crowd when you're walking out, like with the cage door show, it's just a fight at the end of the day. Maybe you don't hear as much, but like the walk so much better when you've got the full crowd. But like I said, I've only ever been to English ones while the cheering is. I've never been to one where I'm fighting some American one that all booing is and stuff like that. It might be a bit different, but it's great to get in there, like all your friends, and all your friends and family there watching you because it's close. Yeah, I just can't wait for it. Like I said, I'll take everything in. It's amazing. Like when will I fight in England again? Hopefully it comes back every year, maybe twice a year. That would be ideal, but it's not guaranteed. I wasn't guaranteed to get on this one. There's always a chance you don't get on. So got to take all the moments I can get. But yeah, the card's amazing. I think for English MMA at the minute, it's amazing. It's doing so good. British MMA, so many guys in the card. Like I said, I've trained with Tom and Modestus who were fighting, and we've all trained so hard. We're putting so much work. I can't say any of us losing. And like I said, it depends what time I fought. If I fight later on, I'll potentially stop and watch it. I was joking this to Tom. He's fighting like 4:30 after a fight. I might be straight fast asleep before then. So I'll try my best. It's long once you've fought. You don't realize how long it is. The time you do all the media stuff, and they take a lot of photos of you, and you get medically checked out. Sometimes you can be there for like an hour or two after anyway, and then getting out the place and going back to the venue. But I think I should be okay. If I fight especially 2:30, that would be ideal. I'll probably be able to sit still in there when the fight's on. Maybe get a glance at, maybe say good luck to Tom. I think Modestus is his first fight, so I think it should be fine to watch him. Or I might be travelling now as he's fighting, so I might have to watch on the phone on the Fight Pass. But yeah, it's great. Like I said, the fighting in the morning's not ideal, but it is what it is. When the announcers show, everyone was saying, "Oh, they're not going to have it this time," but I thought they would. They sell too many pay-per-views in America not to do it, to cater for the American audience. Like we're not fighting Vegas, and it's on. It's so big over there. Like every bar's got it in. They all love it. They're all super fans over there. It's definitely getting bigger in England. It's huge now, but I don't think like every bar in England's going to buy it and put it on pay-per-view to justify them putting it on for our time. So I understand why they do. Like I said, it's not great for fans, but it is what it is. It's 2 world title fights, so you might never see that again. So to get that in the UK and go watch it live, I think it's an amazing opportunity.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. And another flip side of that as well is with that time zone, you're looking at building the British stars in the US. You know, yourself, you
Yeah.
fought out there, Tom's fought out there, and everything like that. And just as a final word, the heavyweight picture, it seems interesting at the very top. I mean, you've got Stipe John, you've obviously got Tom and Curtis, and then you've got a little guy, Alex Pereira, as well, vying in there. I mean, as somebody knocking on the door of that top 15, do you kind of look at that and say like, oh wow, this is amazing, or it's a mess? What are your thoughts on the picture right at the top?
Oh yeah, it's at the top now. It's never been so lively. I think heavyweights. I think obviously Jones and Steve there. That's obviously going to happen. I don't know. Tom, he'd fight anybody. You know, I think he'd fight
Yeah.
anybody. He's obviously. I think I don't know, but I think he probably wants Jones the most. I just think it makes a lot more money for him. Stuff like that. It's nice. Probably nice to have a really big payday and obviously beat one of like the best MMA fighters ever. So he'd have Jones, but I think he'd fight Pereira. I think he'd fight them all really big names. But I do think looking in that he's a really hard fight for them, so he's not guaranteed to get them. And I don't know, like the UFC, like Pereira and Jones might be even a bigger selling point than Tom and Jones or Tom and Pereira. But I do think if Jones wins, he might retire now. He obviously had the big injury. You don't know. I don't know him, so he might love fighting and just want to do it because he loves fighting. He might just want to do it for the money now. You don't know. So I think if he retires, maybe that opens up for Tom and Pereira because there's not many people there for Tom left to fight really at the top. But like speaking to him today, I think he's happy to fight and fight anyone really. He's just like, oh, I'd take anybody, you know. Just think he's like sort of waiting. What else can he do? Obviously, he has to get Blades out of the way. Blades is definitely a tough test for him, especially like obviously the way the first one went. People are like there's still a question mark over it, but the way he trains at the moment, I do see him like beating Blades. He's so explosive and fast, but he's over five. He could do 5 rounds so easy as well. I do think he's something special as well. So I do think he'll beat Blades. Like no disrespect to Blades, I think he's amazing. It's definitely probably stylistically a very hard matchup for Tom on paper, but I think Tom will win. And hopefully Tom will get one of these big super fights for himself.
Yeah, I think we all hope that, and we all hope the same for you as well. Listen, I hope your fight goes well on Fight Now. I'll give you the final word. Anyone you want to shout out, any sponsors or your team or anything like that, mate?
Yeah, I'm fine.
All good. Everyone's good. You've name dropped all your training partners anyway.
Once,
Well, listen.
once I know, I'll try and mention them all. Once you get to shout outs to them, you forget everybody. You forget everybody upsetting somebody.
No, for sure, mate, for sure. Well, listen, like I said, I hope everything goes well on Fight Night. That's Mick Parkin, UFC 304 versus Lukasz Brzeski. Tune in around about that 2 a.m., 2:30 mark to see Mick back in action. Thank you very much for your time again, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Right. Thank you, mate. Cheers. Thanks a lot.